Hello everybody, my name is Monica and Merry Christmas, and I'm here to share with you my journey to Christ. For the sake of time, I won't be able to go into a lot of details, but feel free to ask me any question when you see me. So I was born in 1980 in the south of Italy, and I was raised in a Catholic family. The way God/church/religion was explained to me in my childhood was that, first of all, God and church are one thing. You can't separate them. So whatever the church does is because of God, because the church really represents the hand of God on earth. And second, faith is what they call it a dogma, a doctrine, so unquestionable, and especially you don't ask questions. That was what I understood as a child. My family was very involved in the local church, so we would go to church regularly. Fast forward to 1993, my best friend Laura was admitted to hospital with a gun wound to her head. And I went, once I was notified, I went to the priest and I asked him, what are we going to do? And he told me, if your faith is as big as a grain of sand, God will save her. So for me, that was perfect. I had the formula. I went home. I told my parents, for me, there is no school. There is nothing. I'm just going to pray because God is going to save my friend. And that's what I did. But she died after 5 days. So that made me angry. I felt very guilty because obviously to me, my faith wasn't big enough. And that's the reason why God didn't save her. But I also started to have a bit of questions around this God that this church was talking about. But again, you don't question, so this was all, all in my mind. Fast forward one more year, 1994, my parents get separated, and my dad leaves the house. And if we put aside what this had an impact on me as a young girl, a young woman, and we look at the faith aspect, I saw the way the church, which to me meant God, because you remember they are one thing, treated my mother. So at the time, the Pope had said that people that are divorced are not going to participate in the communion. She wasn't divorced; they never actually divorced, but they didn't allow her to participate in the communion. There was a lot of judgment, there was a lot of gossip, and she would come back home crying, and that made me really, really angry. And in my mind, I was thinking, God, aren't you the one that is supposed to be close to the people that are suffering? And if it's a yes, why aren't you close to my mom? And also, why aren't you close to me? Because I'm suffering too. So I started to move away from what I thought was God, which, was the church. And it was quite quick. I moved completely the opposite way. And I fully embraced the word and everything that the word could offer me to fill in this kind of void hole that I had. I wasn't questioning anything, as in, is there a hell or a heaven? What happens when you die? I wasn't interested in any of that. In my mind, I was a strong, independent woman that didn't need any God. And that was the way I was living my life. If I move quite forward, in 2011, I was living in Spain, and I decided to move to UK, to London. A friend of mine was coming to live here. And I had a plan, perfect plan in my mind. I was going to move to London, I was going to work, I was going to save some money, and then I was going to move to South America because, who wants to live in a cold country? Me, I wanted to live on the bright side of the world. And that was my plan. It was perfect. It was, as you can see, very detailed, but God had a completely different plan. So I arrived in London in June 2011. I met Isaac in August 2011. I got pregnant with Leon in November 2011. I gave birth to Leon in August 2012. And I got married in February 2013. So, in a year and a half, I became a mother and a wife. And, my plan wasn't really going the way I thought it was going. When I met Isaac, he told me that he believed in God. He also told me that he had a Bible, but to me at the time the Bible was a book, so you can have it or not. I don't really care. And because of the lifestyle we were living, the fact that he believed in God didn't make any difference to me. So that's, we continued the life that we had before. And moving towards 2014, We'd now been married for a year, been together for almost 3, and things were tough. Financially, they were tough. The jobs we had were quite of a low income. Life was tough for a number of reasons. New parents, no family around, and what started to happen was that I would come back from work, and I would find Zik watching these YouTube videos of testimony, and I didn't like that. I really didn't like him watching it. I wasn't understanding why. Why are you watching this? What is this? And they actually brought fear. I was scared about it. So I didn't want him to watch it. And he wanted to watch it, so he continued. So that brought a little bit of tension in the house. And then to make it, to add to this, one day he told me, I want to go to church. And that was the moment I was like, oh, I need a plan again, my fantastic plans. So my plan was, I have to go with him, because he made clear you don't have to come, but he also made clear you're not going to stop me. But in my mind I said, no, you need to go, because you need to make sure it's not going to get brainwashed. You need to be there, and you need to supervise the whole situation. So we go, the 3 of us, now Leon is a toddler, we go and we go to the church on High Mill Road. And it was closed, so I was like, won the lottery, we go home. But no, he said, oh, there is a church on our way to the market. Let's go and try to see that one. And so we came here. The service was already, I think, halfway through, or a bit more than halfway through. We entered the church, we came upstairs, and I don't know what happened, but I just started to cry. At the time, now I know what happened, but at the time, I didn't know. I was just crying. At the end of the service, obviously, people noticed that we were new, and Pastor Anthony came and told me, if you want, when you come back, you can take your son downstairs into the Sunday. There is a Sunday school, which I didn't even know what it was, but he told me it's like a place for children. And I made sure I told him, okay, first of all, I don't believe in any of this stuff. Let's be clear. Second, I'm not going to leave my son with a stranger. This is never going to happen. And he told me, well, you can go too. And in my mind, I was thinking, but I'm not coming back then, so we're good. Don't worry. So we go home, and the first thing that Zik says is, I'm going back on Sunday. I'm like, oh, okay, need a better plan. So we started to come Sunday after Sunday. I was making sure I was telling everybody, don't try to push this stuff on me, don't talk to me, in the nicest Italian ways possible, I was telling them. But everybody was nice to me. And I was going downstairs with Leon. At the time, the church school was run by Iris, her daughter Jackie, and Becky was also there. And they were they were very nice to me. They were nice to anybody, but they were also nice to me, somebody they don't know, somebody that is not there nice to them. They continued to be nice. And so I could see Leon enjoying, the games, the songs. And so at one point I started to trust them on a personal level. I felt that it was safe for Leon to be with them. In my mind, I thought, okay, now Leon is safe because, Sunday school doesn't really matter, does it? So Leon is safe. Now I need to look after my husband. I need to make sure, I need to bring him back to the right path, because obviously mine was the right path. So I decided to start going upstairs. I leave Leon downstairs and I go upstairs to the service. And this time when I'm going to the service, there is a series of, guess what? Testimonies. People are giving testimonies about not really how they came to Christ, but what's happening in their life and how they're thankful to God. And they're sharing stories that in my mind, I can't believe. But what I really can't believe is they're sharing stories that are very hard, but their face has peace. They are joyful. They're not upset. They're not angry. There is no resentment. There is no desire of revenge towards people that have done them wrong. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't work. You have the right to be angry. You have the right to want revenge. That was me. So I was attracted though at the same time, because as if peace is something you can actually see. I could see it. I could see a light. And so I was interested, but still I've got my plan. It's not happening. At the same time, we've swapped nursery rhymes for Sunday school songs at home. Because now Leon is singing all the famous one, My God is So Big, and all of that. And he's also picking up songs from church, and he kept singing, I Give Myself Away. So now he's singing it, so I'm picking it up as well. And now I'm basically spending my days singing Sunday school songs and worship songs. But in my mind, I'm still thinking, this is not happening. I don't have nothing to do with this. I'm strong, independent. I'm good. So we go there, one Sunday we go there, I'm downstairs, and Becky shares with me something, and then she asks me if she can pray for me. And now I like her, so how am I going to say no? She prays for me. Nothing happens that Sunday, but I do believe that that prayer started to shake something. And the next Sunday, and I am upstairs, and again I get this wave from the Holy Spirit, and I cry. I'm sobbing. There is no way you're going to stop me cry. And at this point, Dan and Jackie, which had become quite close to both of us, me and Ezek, come to me and they ask me, what's going on? Because I'm sobbing. I'm completely sobbing. And I tell them, I want that peace. I'm tired. I'm tired of, not having peace, not being able to know that peace. I want the same thing I can see on you guys. I want it. And so they tell me to repeat after them, and that was the day, that's March 2015, end of March. That was the day I gave a chance to God, and that was the day my life changed. It didn't change overnight, but that's another testimony. The message I wanted really to get to you is, please don't write anybody off. Anybody that you've been praying for, don't write them off. They can be the opposite way. God is still able to bring them in the right path. Don't ever underestimate Sunday school and the power that a seed planted in a child can have in a whole family. Be always careful when somebody new enters the door, because that could have been a big impact if people wouldn't have been so kind, so compassionate, so loving, so understanding to. They looked, let's put it like this, they looked at the potential. They didn't look at what they had in front of them. And they loved me. And that also had a big part to play. So thank you. And I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that has encouraged you, and that you have an amazing Christmas.